Hey YouTube, it's Magician34 with your top 5 plus 1 honorable mention from Dark Crisis, the set which came right before Invasion of Chaos. This set was interesting. It didn't have as many crazy power cards as many of its predecessors, but it was also more balanced in a lot of ways. And you got to remember that a lot of the insane power cards that came before it and in the noteworthy set just after it, many of them have earned their places on the ban list, and very little of Dark Crisis has ever seen ban or limitation. But anyway, honorable mention is Final Countdown. I just have to mention this card. It's one of the probably easiest to execute alternate win condition cards in the game. Basically, because if you fire this and they don't negate it on the spot, all you have to do is just stall your opponent for 20 turns, and half of those are yours, so they're basically free. It's one of the most fun and, for your opponents, the most infuriating ways that you can just cheese a win out, basically. It's very cool. There hasn't really ever been one quite like it, and so it's worthy of mention. Number 5 in this countdown is Sakura to Armory. It affected the game for a long time, and even though it's probably not going to see play now, it's still a noteworthy card, because it's a quick one-for-one trade. It just straight up destroys a monster, and there's no other existing condition other than the fact that they attack you. And it did have a big impact, but Dark Crisis realistically didn't have that many insane cards compared to previous sets. So Sakura to Armor does make number 5. Number 4 is a card a lot closer to my heart and a lot more playable, even today, is DD Warrior Lady. 15/16 light warrior, lots of good stuff there, 4 stars, and she gives you the option of removing from play anybody she gets into combat with. Just an excellent card. She's an excellent set. You can even send her to attack people. You don't take too much damage when they attack over her, and they always have to debate whether or not it's worth the potential loss. She's good for hitting small things like Sangan. She doesn't have the weaknesses of like DD Warrior, who automatically pulls himself out of play, or DD Assailant, who has to lose the battle in order to pull something out of play. That major flexibility in this one-for-one trade card that can also be searched via Reinforcement of the Army makes her very flexible, very powerful, and she'll probably remain a consistently useful card over time. So, number 4 right there. Number 3 is Butterfly Dagger Elma. I think a lot of people don't understand why this card is banned. It obviously has some pretty cool combo potential, because anytime it's destroyed while it's equipped to a monster, it just comes back to your hand. Since it's an equipped spell, you can play it, and so theoretically with a card like, say, Gearfried the Iron Knight, you can play and do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again infinitely. So just combine that with anything that profits from you putting that spell on the field, and it's an infinite loop. And obviously infinite loops are bad, but the other cards didn't deserve to be banned, whereas Elma did. The other thing about this that makes it noteworthy is the fact that it's basically a card that never goes away. No matter how many times your opponent tries to deprive you of it while it's on the field, it'll just come back to your hand. So it's in the same category as, say, Sinister Serpent for that. It's essentially the card that never dies. And anytime a card can do something like that, that's usually an impressive sign of something. And that 300-point boost to all your monsters is just annoying as it is. But ranking in at number 2, even more powerful, Skill Drain. For a mere 1,000 points, this thing can cripple every monster your opponent controls on the field. Of course, it gets yours too, but obviously you're playing around it, and there are even ways to profit from this card. Cards like Beast King Barbaros, for example. Basically, what this card is the fact that the game is so focused on monster effects and that they are so critical to so many strategies. This card is basically the power to just absolutely shut them down. And the best part is you can play all your stuff, get all your effects, set up a good field, and then use this in your back row to protect you, just like people have done with Royal Oppression over time prior to its banning, which of course at some point in the future maybe won't be banned again. But point being, it's an unfair control card. And ranking in at number 1, a very powerful card indeed, Tsukuyomi. It's a spirit, so it comes back to your hand, and it basically Book of Moons anything anytime it gets flipped face up. With 1100 attack, this thing was for a long time the Monarch killer, but it can also lead to a lot of nasty combos and even loops by flipping down cards like, say, Mask of Darkness most notably. It generates tremendous amounts of card advantage, and in many ways, it's not that broke by itself, but you'd be amazed how devastating it is. For those of you who've played with this card in the environment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not to mention the fact that it's very searchable via Sangan and even Witch of the Black Forest. This card was pivotal and included in almost every deck while it was legal for play, and while I don't think it would necessarily be crazy for it to come back, at the same time I can also see where that return would be very annoying, and like Blackluster Soldier, it would just be in everyone's deck. So anyway, those are my top 5 cards, plus one honorable mention from Dark Crisis, and this set, of course, is followed by the infamous Invasion of Chaos. So, look forward to that one. If you're viewing this, odds are good. It's probably already posted, or it will be very soon. So until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool videos.